Hey, Chelsea. Chelsea, can you hear me?
Yeah,
How are you?
hanging in there. I've got kids everywhere. They
How
don't
have you been able to work on your stuff?
can't leave the house.
Well, you're the first ones in so far.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I was gonna figure it out or not. So.
Well, you did.
Here, will you go sit over here? Yeah, go watch your shows. The mommy's gonna do homework. No, you can't help me. I gotta go. I'm gonna go grab some more paper. Okay. Tricky.
How have you been?
We're good. We're quarantined.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, my husband's still having to work, but he's working by himself.
Now, where is he at?
He's at Denso. He's in charge of the service department, so he's just in there by himself running it.
Oh, wow.
And then he just got back from the National Guard. He had been away for 3 weeks and waiting to hear if he needs to go back.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah. And he's stationed in Middle Tennessee, so it's worse there.
Oh, yeah.
They definitely might need him.
Have you been able to keep up with your work?
For the most part, I've been doing all of the videos. I just had a couple of questions about like the quiz where it said the entering and exiting variable.
Yeah.
Understand.
Let me get me a piece of paper and I'll show you what they're talking about.
Can I go in the bedroom and you stay right here?
This might be upside down. I'll have to fix it if it is. I think it is.
Is there a way on here for me to like turn my volume off in case the kids are crazy so nobody hears them?
Well, I can turn you off.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Hey, Ava.
Let me make up a.
Oh, I see a mute button. Okay, we're good.
Is this upside down to you?
Yes.
Okay, I'll fix that in just a second.
I need my pencil more. Do you want your own pencil? You go color.
You do right here. You do it right here. You do right here.
Okay, let me turn this around. It's just everything's slow. There we go. Okay, now this is the start of one of the tableaus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to get your pivot, you go with your most negative
Mm-hmm. You do it.
quotients.
You might do that. Well, I have to do
Is that all right so far, getting the quotient?
Yeah.
And you go with your smallest quotient. So this one's going to be about 3.75. This is going to be less than 1. So I go with my smallest. So that's going to be my pivot. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. This would be, let me put my letters up here. This would be my entering because it's going to be something other than 0.
I hate music.
And I'm going to change this column 0, 1, 0. That's going to be like this column. So that one will be exiting.
Wait, I'm confused. Which one was entering? And which one?
This one. Remember, we're going to make this a 1 and everything else is 0. So the column is going to look like this one, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So this one's going to be entering, but the one that it looks like, it's going to be exiting.
So S2 is the egg.
X2 would be exiting.
Okay.
X sub 2 would be entering. Jared's trying to get in. Let me let him in.
Okay. I'm putting my dog out. Did Chip go out?
Hey, Jared. Can you hear me, Jared?
Yeah.
Okay. Chelsea was asking about a problem. And I was talking about entering and exiting variables. So how you been doing?
I about finished the 6.1 homework section, and I needed to be like reminded how to do all of it. But once I learned it, it's been pretty good.
Okay. Did you use the videos?
Not yet.
That will help. It will help a lot. I was hoping you all would stay up with the syllabus, but I know it's sort of hard because I know some of the students I've talked to, I had an earlier session with my calc class, and some of them have been working big time.
Yeah, I wasn't one of those who was working though. So.
Well, I did all the videos trying to get ahead in this class because my other professors were expecting them possible.
So you've talked to some of your other instructors?
I've gotten some emails. Yeah.
Jared, have you been hearing from anybody?
Yeah. My other class, my chemistry class, she decided she's going to use Zoom too. So it's kind of nice being introduced to it now.
Okay.
And my philosophy teacher, he just gave us a couple homework assignments and that's about it.
Well, he's sort of laid back anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see. So will the meetings, your chemistry instructor and us, will that be any conflict?
No, not at all. I think my chemistries will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're supposed to be having a test coming up next Monday, if you've looked at your syllabus. So we need to, Ryan's trying to get in. Let me let Ryan in. Hey, Ryan. I don't know if Ryan can talk. Do you have a mic, Ryan? I think, Ryan, you muted yourself.
Yes, I just did. I'm in my living room with my sister.
Oh, okay. Well, we're just,
I have to go mute too.
it's almost noon. We just needed to get together and see how everybody's doing and see what we can do from here on. So I've only got 3 of you. Oh, yeah, just 3 of you all. I need about 7 more.
I think Riley should be joining.
Okay. So have you been able to stay up with it, Ryan?
Yes, I have. I have been able to.
Okay. I have put in, now I might have to repeat this depending on who starts coming in, but I have put in a, oh, what did I call it? I don't know. I think pre-test for chapter 6. It's a homework in my math lab that you might want to access it because your test is going to be online through my math lab. So that will help you to see what type of problems you might be seeing. But it's based on your homework in chapter 6.
How many questions would you say the test is going to be?
The
around?
test is going to have to probably be around 10.
Okay.
Because some of these problems, Patrick's trying to get in. Let me let Patrick in. Hey, Patrick. Patrick, hopefully Patrick can hear me. Ryan, it's going to be about 10 problems because some of them, when you work them out, if you've been doing any problems out of 6.2 and 6.3, some of them take a little bit of time. Most of the questions are fairly quick, but if it's a problem that you have to start from the beginning and go all the way to the end and give me an answer, they can be a little bit time consuming.
Okay, I was just wondering because sometimes I struggle with entering the answers and stuff into our program. So
Yeah, me
I was
too.
just,
Well, that's why I do want you to work on the that pre-test on the homework, because that'll give you a little bit more practice with entering your answers and stuff, and you know, knowing what type of problems you're going to be seeing. So that'll just give you practice.
okay. Yeah, I'll probably do that tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay. Now, Wednesday, we have another meeting. Initially, what I want to do today is just see if how everybody is doing. We could call a special meeting on Friday if you want to do to answer questions about the review problems. That'll give some of y'all a little bit more time, but I'll leave that up to you. See what you all want to do.
Right there.
Oh, Brianne's coming in. Yay. Hey, Brianne. Oh, wow. Riley, too. This is cool. Got about 6 of you all now. How is everybody?
Good.
I've been talking to Chelsea and Jared and Ryan. So Brianne, Patrick, Riley, how are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, fine. Oh, Blake's trying to get in. Let me get Blake in. Hey, Blake.
Hey,
This is wild. This is so cool. I did this at 10 o'clock, but it's just, you know, being able to see you all again. That's nice. I can move. I'm going to probably be upside down because this camera. Oh, yeah. How about that?
Are upside down.
Let me see if I can get myself right side up. Yeah, with an angle. That's okay. Hey, Brianne. I see you. So let me see. I've talked to the other ones. I don't know when you came in, Blake. But how you all doing right now?
doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Have you been talking to the other instructors? Have they gotten in touch with you?
Yes, all of them have so far. Just trying to get everything settled in is what they said.
Some are better at planning than others.
Yeah, well, that's just human nature, I guess. Let's see, Riley, I haven't heard from you.
Hey, Miss Ammons, how are you?
I'm all right. You doing okay?
I'm doing pretty good.
Well, Jared's about to go to sleep, I think. Wake up, Jared. Oh, let me get you checked off, Blake. So Sam, Garrett, and Troy, I haven't heard from. Like I was telling the others, there is a pre-test review. I think that's what I call it. Oh, pre-test for chapter 6 that is in my math lab. You need to start doing that. I think I've got a due date either Friday or Saturday, April 3rd, April 4th. Your test is due on April 6th. Is that going to be an issue?
I don't
We've
think
got
so.
3 sections, and I know we started section 1, but you've got to look at the videos. That is a must. That is my lecture. And when I ask you to pause me and do the problem, then do that. It's as if we were in class. What we're going to use this Zoom for is to make sure, if there's anything that we need to clarify before you take the test. So, what do you all think?
So are we doing a graph on the test?
You won't be able to. No, your test is online, and some of y'all came in just a little bit ago. Garrett wants in. Let me get Garrett in. Hello, Garrett. Well, hopefully, Garrett, you can hear me. The test is online, and some of the problems will be similar to what you will be doing for that pre-test. The pre-test is a homework, and with that homework, you can ask my math lab, help me solve this. That's an immediate feedback, which I can't give you since we're not technically in class. So that's why I put the pre-test on there in my math lab. The test will be in my math lab. It will be timed. And 4 of you all have sent back the honor pledge, which I asked you to do because the tests are not proctored. Our testing center's closed. I'm not going to have you pay a lot of money to get or to have a proctored test. So I'm going to take you on your honor. It will open up probably Friday, and it will close on Monday. But it will be a time test, probably about 75 minutes, and that will give you sufficient time to do the test. So let me get this off of me so I can, that's bothering me. I have a time lapse, and I can't handle that. So is there anything right now we can work on? Or is there any questions you have? Chelsea had a question earlier about entering and exiting variables. Can anybody think of anything? Some of y'all are muted.
There wasn't a 6-1 quiz, so is any part of 6-1 going to be on the test?
Yeah, it will be. You'll have to look at those pre-test questions for chapter 6. And you'll see what kind of questions I'll ask.
So you said the pre-test is optional. It's not actually required, right?
It's true, Ryan, but if you wanted a very good idea about the test, it would be to your advantage to do.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I was just wondering if it was for a grade or anything.
No,
or
sir.
what.
It
Okay.
won't be for a grade. It'll just be for you to be able to see where you might be having issues. So we can clean those issues up before you take your test. Now, I did have one problem that I was going to work, if you all have time. It's out of section 6.3, and it is a minimization problem because there's more steps involved in it than in the maximization.
Yes,
And
that'll be fine.
if you've got your book, I'll have to twirl this around too. I'm going to have to get me a camera and not use this iPivo. I got a sticky little mouse. There. Let me expand this and I'll start talking about it. This is problem 17. It's on page 328, and it's a minimization problem. And these type of problems take a bit of time to do. So I was going to start this at the very beginning and just work through it. Now, I think some of the variables that I might use in my YouTube videos might be a tad different, but I'm going to use what the book does so that there'll be less confusion when you look at the homework, the pretest for chapter 6. To do a minimization problem, the first thing you have to do is put this into a matrix as is. So I'm going to call this matrix A. You put the constraints on top. Remember, this is a minimization, not a maximization. Sorry about that. Your constraints go above the horizontal line. Your objective function goes below. And like I said, you take the problem as is. Notice I haven't changed anything at all. So is that okay so far?
Yeah.
Now, do you all need to write this down? Or I don't know, if you've got your book, it is problem 17 on page 328. And when you access the YouTube video on this, there's actually, I think, 2, that go with the minimization. So you're just getting sort of a very quick look at it. But first thing you do, if it's a minimization and your constraints are greater than or equal to, very different from what we did in section 2. You put this information, your constraints, and your objective function into a matrix. The next thing I'm going to do to this is I'm going to transpose. Transpose is when the rows and the columns change. Row 1 becomes column 1. Row 2 becomes column 2. Row 3 becomes column 3. And put those lines back in. This is called a transpose. Now, why we're doing this is we're going to make what's called the dual problem. We're trying to get it back to something that we've done before, and those are maximization problems. From this transpose right here, I'm going to change this. And since I have changed the problem, I'm going to use different variables. I'm going to change it to a maximization problem. I'm going to maximize P. Remember, our objective function is in the bottom. I'm not going to use X's. I'm going to use Y's because I have changed it. Also, the objective functions, I'm going to use the same letters. Maybe if you put Y1, Y2 above that, that might help. I'm getting a new cherry Coke. Thank you, honey. Oh, that was good. All right, so my constraints. So let me recap. This is a minimization problem. All of the constraints are greater than or equal to. How we work this is by creating a dual problem. So the first thing, we take the coefficients as is, put them into a matrix, always with the constraints above the horizontal line and the objective function below. We transpose. What was rows becomes columns and vice versa. It's from the transpose that we change it into a type of problem that we are familiar with. And why I chose this problem is it also shows us how to do a maximization problem, which is section 6.2. So are we all right so far, guys?
So you changed the signs to be the opposite
Yes.
from the original? Okay.
Yep. In a dual problem, I'm changing a minimization to a maximization. And maximization problems always have less than or equal to. Are we okay?
Yes.
All right. Now, if you remember, or if you've looked at 6.2, we have to add slack variables. Now, in 6.2, I used S sub 1s and S sub 2s, but I'm going to use something a little bit different here because of the type of problem. And why I use it will become apparent here in just a second. Instead of S sub 1 and S sub 2, I'm going to use X sub 1 and X sub 2 as my slacks. So this one is going to change to 2y sub 1 minus 2y sub 2 plus x sub 1 equals 11. This one is going to change because remember, we cannot assume that they both need the same amount of slack picked up. So those of you that have looked at 6.2, is that okay so far? Garrett, Riley, Patrick, Ryan, any of you all? Are we okay so far?
Yes.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Now we're going to go and put this information into a matrix, but remember about this guy. The only thing that is allowed over in the right-hand column are constants. So remember that I've got to move these two over. So I'm going to have a negative 8y sub 1 minus 4y sub 2 plus p is equal to 0. And it's this one that I'm going to put into the matrix. So guys, let me know if you're all right so far. I need a bigger desk. So are we okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, in section 6.2, you learn how to do a maximization problem. These values on the bottom row give you information as to where you need to start. If I want to maximize this thing right here, it would be to my advantage if I made y1 larger to begin with, because its coefficient is the largest. But it is modified when I put it into a matrix. They are negative. You always start on the bottom row and go to your most negative. And you put an arrow coming up. Your pivot can be either 2 or 1, but to decide which one, the next thing you have to do is your quotients. This is this number, 11, divided by that possible pivot 2, 4 divided by that possible pivot 1. You always use the smallest quotient. This is 5.5, this one's 4. So this is my smallest quotient right here. If you'll notice where the two arrows meet, you always put a circle around that. That's my pivot. I'm going to make it a 1, everything else in the column 0. And that should sound like the Gauss-Jordan. To do that, let's see. Since it's already a 1, I don't need to change that. I need to make this a 0, so I'm going to do -2 times row 2, add to row 1 to give me my new row 1. I need to make the -8 a 0, so that would be 8 times row 2, add to row 3 to give me my new row 3. This should look familiar, guys. So I'm going to put it in my calculator. See how the calculator shows up on here. This is a 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Two. So second matrix, over, up. I'm going to do my multiply row, add. Oh, let me put these steps in. So -2, comma, let me go get my matrix, comma, 2, comma, 1. Let's see if I get that 0, which I wanted right there. Can anybody tell me what I'm supposed to do right now?
Store.
Thank you. And now I'm going to do the second step. I'm going to write that new matrix down. And I try to keep this where these columns stay the same because I need that for this particular problem. Are we okay, guys?
Yes.
Now, I need you to look at this last matrix because there's a couple of things that I need you to see from it. If this was a maximization problem, original problem, if it were a maximization problem, my maximum would be 32 when y sub 1 equal 4, y sub 2 is 0, x sub 1 is 3, x sub 2 is 0, and my maximum would be 32. Okay? Remember how we read those stars 2 weeks ago almost? But now this is a minimization problem. We read it differently. My original problem had x's. Okay? And then when we came down here, when we added the slack, I asked you to put x's here. In a minimization problem, you read differently. My minimum value is 32, but you go with respect to the slacks. So my minimum on this is when p is equal to 32, when x sub 1 is equal to 0, and x sub 2 is equal to 8. So in a way, you saw a maximization problem worked here, but we're doing it as a dual problem to solve the minimization problem. So this has some of section 6.2 and 6.3 involved. Now, does anybody know why I know that this is my last matrix? Why I don't have to go any further? Can anybody tell me?
Because there's no negatives.
Yes, there are no negatives in the bottom row. Everything is driven by that bottom row. As long as I have a negative, I have to start this all over again. I'll have to go pick a new pivot and go get, start with my arrow coming in, come over here and do my side ones to see where those two arrows meet. But if I end up with the bottom row being 0 or positive, that means it's done. It's over. And a lot of these are very quick like that. I know of maybe one problem where you might have to go 3 times in the actual homework, but mostly the max you have to go is twice through these things. So guys, questions about this? What do you think? You're speechless.
So you say that we do it as a maximization because we are more familiar with it. Is that what
Yeah.
you said?
Yeah,
Okay.
you work it like a maximization. It's called a dual problem. Right when you go from this matrix down to a transpose, you're changing it, and this is called dual. That's the dual.
Okay.
And we know how to do that because we did this in section 6.2. So it's just, a couple of things that are modified. You have to know about how to put the original problem into a matrix and transpose and rewrite the problem. And the other thing that's new is how you read it. If it's a minimization, and you've got to know if it's minimization or maximization because it makes the biggest difference in the world. If it's minimization, you read down. Your answers are going to be in the bottom row, and it's going to be with those slack variables that you've added. So I think in my YouTube videos, I might have kept X's here and S's here, but me reading is still the same way. If it's minimization, you read down, and it has nothing to do with Gauss-Jordan columns. Nothing. So how are you on this fine Monday morning or afternoon?
Wait, so sorry.
Oh,
You
it's
said
okay.
nothing to do with Gauss-Jordan columns. It's just whatever the original like variables are.
Yes, the original variables or whatever you use for your slack, you have to read down. But the only time you do that, and that's Chelsea, is
Yes.
that right?
Yeah.
Or Brianne? Who's talking?
Yeah, sorry, it's Brienne.
Oh, okay. So Brianne, it depends on your original problem. Sorry if this thing moving slow-mo. It depends on your original problem, how you read your final matrix. If it's
Okay.
a minimization problem, you go with the slack and you read just straight down. Once you get that bottom row, all positive or zero values.
Okay.
Now, my YouTube goes, I do other problems in it. This is just a very quick problem that I wanted you to get, be able to look at.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a refresher.
Who needs a refresher?
I'm just talking about with your videos, since it's been like 2 weeks since I've looked at it.
Well, you know that most of them are fairly short.
Yes.
So guys, what do you want to do? Do you want to work on these problems and maybe meet again Friday?
Will we still have that meeting Wednesday?
I think you might be able to use your time better. It depends if you want. I'm fine with that. But if you want to work between now and Friday to look at those videos and do the homework and your quizzes just to be a little bit better acquainted and be able to ask questions too. Because like someone said, I think maybe Ryan, you haven't seen my videos in a while.
So will the test open on Friday?
I will have it open on Friday and it will close on Monday.
Okay. But not till like evening on Monday?
Oh yeah, late on Monday.
Okay.
So what about it, you all? Patrick, I haven't heard from you. Riley, what do y'all think? Garrett?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
You all right?
Same.
Okay. I'm sorry we're having to do this, but it's our only option. And I don't want to throw you just out to the YouTube world and have you just look at that and not be able to ask questions. So is it going to be Friday?
Yes, that'll be fine.
That'll be all right?
Friday works for me.
Okay.
I'm
then-
okay with that, but you're gonna have a different link for that one, right?
Yes,
Since
you
it-
will. It will be a
Okay.
different link. I can't in Zoom, I can choose every day, but that's slightly mental. I'm not going to do every day. I will send that out to you. It will be a different link, but it'll be at the same time. And the thing about Zoom, I can't do, I have to start on the hour or half hour. So that's why we started at noon, because it didn't let me have a choice.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, now guys, please, if you need that honor pledge sent to you again, please let me know. But I only have about 4 of you all have sent it to me. So please do that. I mean, it might be sort of cheesy because I know there's a couple of people in my web class you know, when someone makes 100 on homework and quizzes and can't get out of the 20s on a test, I know someone's helping them. And, you know, they'll do the honor pledge because there's no honor there. But, you know, I'm just taking you for your word, because I'm not going to have you pay a lot of money to get a proctored test. That's mental. So are we all right? We're going to meet Friday at noon?
Yes.
Yes, that's fine.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Anybody have
so-
any issues?
I have
Hey,
a question.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Okay. So when you said that honor pledge, what day was that?
Well, it was a day I couldn't sleep. I sent it about 1:30 in the morning on March 20th,
Okay.
because I'd been thinking about it. When I start thinking about things, I just have to do it or I won't sleep. I sent it out again on March 26th, but I sent it through Pearson and also through Brightspace.
Okay.
Now, if you need it, send it out, you know, send it out again. I will. I have no issue with it.
All right. I got you.
If you can't find it, shoot me an email and I'll send it to you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So guys, are we all right for right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for stopping in, and we will get through this. I know you probably heard that about 5,000 times, but this is, you know, the best route, I think, for us to go and get through with this, because we have this test and we have one more chapter test, and now the final. Do you remember about the final?
It's optional, right?
Yes, it is optional. It is optional. So we really pretty much got to do your quizzes. Remember to do those quizzes, because the quizzes are considered a test as well.
So
All
how
right.
how
Go
are,
ahead.
sorry. How are we doing the final? Is it online too, or?
It will be, Brienne. Is this Brienne?
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. It's just,
I'll turn my camera on.
well, it's what happens on my screen is there's a little green box that shows up as to who's talking, but I can't see everybody. So yeah, Brienne, it will be online as well, but it is optional. And once you do that last chapter test, I'll get a test based on your quizzes, and I will let you know where you
Okay.
stand.
Also, does someone have a cat? Because I swear I heard one meowing, and I
I
kind of want
do. I do.
to.
That's Mr. T, and if I let him in here, he'd be in front of my face, and I wouldn't be able to do nothing. Yes, I do. He's a nosy little booger.
And are
Okay.
the quizzes still due on April 1st?
Do what now?
Are the quizzes still due on April 1st?
That's Wednesday. I'll change them. I'll
Okay.
change them to Saturday.
Okay.
That would be what, April 4th. Yeah, I'll go change them as soon as we get done here.
Thank you.
You
Thank
are welcome, and it's good seeing some of y'all and hearing you.
Yes, ma'am.
So take care, guys.
You too. See you Friday.
Bye.